Today is Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, and welcome to SBA Today. Tanya, what are we doing today?
Well, Paul, we got a couple things on here. So we're going to talk about, in this episode, we're going to talk about selling EIDL loans, and the Small Business Committee is mad. Apparently they aren't selling them. That's what's making them mad.
Anyway, all right, interesting, right?
Small business is more important than we give it credit for. No kidding. We all should know this, right? And yep. Paul, you opened a can of worms on LinkedIn. So
I did.
Yeah. But first, before we get into that, I wanted to talk about the fact that this is graduation season. Graduation season. So to all of you parents out there that have a kid graduating or more, I myself am one. My daughter graduated this past weekend. Yes, headed off to Colorado State University in the fall. But what it made me think of is change, right? Across the board. I mean, because, change is everywhere. But change for them, I mean, going off to something new, stepping into the unknown, and what that takes to do it. Not only them, but also the parents that, all of a sudden they're stepping into change because, whether this is their first or their last or their middle, it changes the dynamic of the family once our kids go off to college as well. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing to me. And it's interesting because it kind of crosses the board too, like in business, like SBA, the SOP, constant change. No matter what we do, it's constant change. Or when we step out and go to a different business or take a different role within our own companies or anything along those lines, it's change. Well, I guess what it kind of made me think of, is what actually is steady. And I don't think there's anything steady. I think the only thing that's steady or consistent is change, right? So, right. In that, I guess we all just have to recognize the beauty in it and roll with it. So that's my big thing on graduation season, as well as we'd like to honor all of the, our fallen vets out there because of Memorial Day yesterday. So there you go. Two big things that happened this weekend. And
wow,
you take it away for us.
Well, it makes me think back of when I was looking so forward to getting out of school, out of my parents' house. Let's get out there on my own, right? And then I remember my first night in my apartment, sitting there and just being like, this is what I wanted. This is a very different feeling.
Well, right? It is. They have zero idea what they're stepping into out there. I mean, they're going to actually start using the meme, like my favorite meme, which is, I don't want to adult today.
Correct.
They're actually going to get to start using it now. Yay.
They'll get it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So, boy, that the Small Business Committee, the Small Business Committee has been really mad at the SBA. That's been kind of a theme. And I don't know if I'd want them mad at me, but at the end of December, the SBA announced their intentions to really be looking at putting those COVID idles, referring to Treasury if there's a default, et cetera. And so what's interesting is SBA made the determination not to sell the loan portfolio in opposition of a third-party consultant's recommendations. And that consultant said that they should. And so, Chairman Roger Williams says, I'm extremely disappointed in the SBA for failing to sell off the IDL portfolio as advised. They wrote a letter stating that they reanalyzed the portfolio and again determined that it was not in the best interest of the taxpayer to sell. Interesting. Yet once again, despite reacted requests, the SBA failed to provide the committee with their internal analysis, and justification on how they reached that conclusion. This is an unacceptable refusal to cooperate with the congressional oversight, right? And has been this one, right? This is when I kind of cringed a little bit.
I know. I'm like,
this has been becoming routine under the Administrator Guzman's leadership.
Ouch.
Oh. So I think it would have been interesting, obviously for the government to get some liquidity back. I mean, the government needs liquidity too, just like us banks and credit unions. But selling those EIDLs, what's the difference between those and what we have with, 7As on the market? So just sit back and watch the movie that is that. It'll be very interesting to see what happened. But I need to start watching the TV when they start having these meetings and watching it live.
God, no.
I take out on that stuff.
No. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because this is
okay.
I know. Okay. Feds against SBA, apparently, right? The committee against SBA, whatever.
Right.
You know what? Our government and different things like that. I mean, there's always something that somebody's doing wrong. And when it comes to politics, everybody wants to point freaking fingers. Yep. I get so darn frustrated because one, I have zero idea who actually made mistakes because they're going to spin it however they daggum spin it to begin with.
100%.
And, throwing it out there. And come on, man, we work with the SBA. They were put in as crappy of a position as all of us lenders were put into when all this went down to where we had to scramble to get things done. So devil's advocate, it could come back around that, whatever they're complaining about or pointing fingers on may not be who they're pointing fingers at, or it might be an across the board. I don't know. That's just me because
I get you. And with the government, there's always fingers, going everywhere. So
they always want a scapegoat.
Well, of course they do, because nobody wants to take the oh, the government. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no kidding. We've got somebody out there. It looks like Gay's having some problem with video. I hope it's not ours.
Well,
yeah. If anybody else,
that's okay. It's being recorded too.
Well, I think maybe some people might just turn video off or turn the thing off because they're like, nah, I don't want to see them.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to see.
Especially volume. They're going to turn me off. They're the volume. I'm kidding. Well, hopefully you get that backup video. Video. Gay. Yeah. Hopefully it'll work again. Anyway, Paul, what's
you got the next one.
Oh, I do. Fine. I guess I'm gonna have to go look it up. I got distracted. Typical. Okay, so I don't know. Do you ever go to the Office of the Advocacy and see any of the things that they post? They have some really great information out there, and they've got something called what is this here? The frequently asked questions about small business. And many of us don't know really how important small business is out there now. All of us in the industry obviously do, but those who aren't may not. I did not know the statistics behind how important small business was. So I just wanted to bring some of that up today. Maybe you guys didn't know either. So anyway, so they put out, the Office of the Advocacy put out in their frequently asked questions. This was at the end of 23. There's nothing more recent that I could find. Anyway, most businesses are small. 99.9% of American businesses are considered small. I had no idea. I think that's pretty darn cool. I mean,
that's an interesting fact because, when you really think about it, because there's so many small businesses, and then you look at like the large companies, that are in the stock market, et cetera.
Right.
99.9 actually does make sense because there are so many, But
there's more to it. There's more to it because of what they do. So you would think these big companies and whatever, have a lot of the job market and whatnot. But it's saying that there's 33,185,550 small businesses in the U.S. They employ 61.7 million Americans, totaling 46.4% of private sector. That's
interesting.
Very interesting. From 95 to 2021, small businesses created 17.3 million net new jobs, accounting for 62.7% of net jobs created. And they pay 39.4% of private sector payroll. I thought that was really interesting, personally.
That makes sense.
Let's see. They generate 32.6% of known export value. I love that because you know how I love the international trade loans.
Well, of course.
And 38% of small businesses use specialized software in their business operations, which means they're, hiring all the specialized software companies and all their employees to work for them or within them.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. They still are generally defining small business as under 500 employees too. So just put that out there in case somebody forgot that.
Right.
little
So
statistic.
some statistical person is going to analyze this.
But anyway, I just thought that was so cool because here we work with all these small businesses, and I think so many forget this realm because they're working in the larger commercial areas or investment or stack capital or whatever the heck it is, right? Small businesses are highly important for the U.S. and hey, this just proves it. So
That's awesome. Those are some interesting facts. I on the surface, I would have not thought 99.9%, but then when you
I
really
was so
think about
surprised. I was like, am I right reading that wrong?
right.
Anyway, all right. What you got next?
So I opened up a can of worms on LinkedIn. And I don't really do that often, but this one was really interesting and really brings up a good point. So I do a lot of marketing on my personal brand, et cetera.
Mhm.
And so one of the things is I've been posting lately these little chats that I've made up, but they're actually real stories, but I've kind of made them up. And I pretty much in this, text message chat, if you have over 20% of a guarantor, then you clearly need to be a guarantee, right? Everyone knows that in market lending, and then I've had people tell me, oh, well, then I'll just do 99.9, no problem, right? And no, that's not how it works. And so, as an SBA manager and, someone who's done underwriting and all of this, it's like, I'm probably going to take that person as a guarantor because the bigger question is, what are you trying to hide? Well, I had an individual, which I appreciate a really good educated banter. And that's what happened with this. They were like, well, then at what point, they kept on asking me, at what point then, would it be? And I'm like, well, I mean, it all depends. It's hard to say an answer. I mean, if you're going to go 19.9, it's a little shady, right? Especially, if it's on a K1 or something like that. But if you also, like, what about 10%? Would you do it on 10%? Well, I mean, probably not. But what's the story behind it? Right. And so, back and forth, they were like, I said, okay, fine. 15 is what I would say. Well, okay. Well, then what about 16, 17, 18, 19? I mean, it was a really good point. But I think what the beautiful thing about this banter back and forth was it really did open up, because there are investors that play a part in sometimes business acquisitions. That's not a secret. Okay. Where they're getting their money and they want some sort of skin in or have some sort of part of that business. So, I mean, it's a really great question, but the way I underwrite and the way that I look at things is, again, what's the story behind it?
Right.
If you have Bill Gates putting in 19.9%, do you think I'm going to want him as a guarantor?
Right.
Yeah, right.
True.
Is it mom who's a 15% guarantor?
Right.
I don't know. It depends how strong my borrower is. And again, I think the important thing to know is there's SBA rules and then there's lender rules, right?
Right.
And as much as a lot of lenders try to ride just the SOP, it doesn't always work that way.
Well, and I think in addition, Paul, it's not even just rules, it's our internal compass, right? If you if you even sniff out somebody trying to get around an SBA rule, it is our ethical responsibility
100%.
to jump on that. It's protecting everybody. It's not just protecting it's protecting the borrower. They just don't realize it, right? It's protecting them. It's protecting the bank. It's protecting SBA. It's protecting taxpayer dollars for not putting it out there. No different than SBA's in trouble right now with the chairman. It's no different. I mean, next is going to be the bank that's sitting there coming back with that and saying, oh, gee, yeah, okay, no, 19.65. That's the magic number.
Right. Exactly.
Because that's it. We have to be so careful with that too. But I'm with you. If somebody comes in, I'm asking regardless what the number is, right? I'm asking the background of how that ownership works and why. And if they are a 12% owner, what I know, because I've been told that they are a key man in some way, shape, or form, I am asking for more than they want me to ask for, because it's my job. That's due diligence. It is my job to protect everyone for doing that. Thoughts?
100%. Yep. No, I completely agree. This is not mortgage lending. This is not residential mortgage lending where you fit in the box, you check the box, you're done. Commercial lending is a snowflake, and people need to understand that. Is every deal is different, and you got to understand the story behind it. So yeah.
I like that. You see what Scott's got out there. Remember to consider things like a minority owner who holds a qualifying license. Very true. A lender would probably require him or her as a guarantor despite ownership. Absolutely. I mean,
agreed.
That, or
the employee. That's exactly what the definition.
Collateral. I mean, sometimes we'll even do it for like a piece of the clout. Maybe we don't make a guarantor, but maybe we ask for collateral. I don't know. Each one's different.
Yep.
But when you have those conversations, that's what I always find interesting. Those borrowers will say things, or brokers will say things, and then once it's said, once it's out there, once I know, I have to dig in. I have to.
That's right.
And I take that very seriously.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Well, thanks for that, Scott. Appreciate the comment. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So.
All right. Close us up.
All right, guys. Well, let's just pull this down here. So, as you know, on Tuesdays, we're not going to say a time. I'm kidding. Tuesdays, we're live now, YouTube and LinkedIn, and on all other streaming platforms. We will be up and running when we're up and running. You can follow us on any of them, actually. But we want to see you next week, and we hope we've brought some value, maybe a little, likely valuable, definitely entertaining. If it's not entertaining, let us know. We'll take it up a notch. Oh, wait. I got you.
Oh,
because my daughter didn't just graduate, so did I. She was my last. I graduated into empty nester.
Nice. Congratulations. Make sure to throw your hat.
I know, right? He's out. Ah! All right. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
See ya.